Hey guys, how are you? Hey unicorns. I'm the Fab Attorney. So excited. So on this portion or playlist of my channel, basically gonna have like a little podcast, a little business corner. I'm gonna call it the Unicorn Entrepreneur Series, where I'm gonna give tips. So my name is the Fab Attorney. I am an attorney licensed in New York and Florida for the past almost 10 years this October. And 10 years in New York, about 5 or 4 years in Florida, 5 or 6 years in Florida, just to be specific, just in case the bar is listening. And I run a successful 7-figure law firm. I have about 8 full-time employees, and I've been running that law firm for about 5 years now. I also run a coaching business where I help businesses hit their first 6 figures and beyond, called the Unicorn Entrepreneur. And I started this is just like a love project. So I really, during the pandemic, started like listening to a lot of podcasts, watching some on YouTube, and I wanted to add a little diversity to this space. There's women of color who are in this business space, business coaching space. I'm an attorney. So on this channel, you're going to get reaction videos. You're going to get business advice and just everything fabulous. Hello, it's the Fab Attorney. So today I am going to talk about something that's probably considered a little meta. And it is how to have the courage, the chutzpah, the cojones to go for your dream. In the last video I did, I was talking about in order to achieve the dreams that you have, the big juicy life, and now specifically talking about with respect to business. But this is a truth, though it's a principle that that applies across the board. You have to make the decisions that your future self is going to be happy about. It's going to be excited about. And you have to really focus your mind on the future. On it, you want to live in the present, but you always want the idea that your life in the future is going to be better than whatever your life is now. Whatever your heart's desires are. And those are desires that only you can define. So you may not want a 7-figure business. You might want to be a 6-figure business. So something at the Unicorn Entrepreneur, my coaching program, it's like I help you define what you want. Create a budget. What is the amount of money you need to be making monthly to accomplish your big juicy life? Your big juicy life is not my big juicy life. You may just want extra money to pay for college for a child. You may want a new Bugatti. You may want to help cure cancer. You may want to pay your mama's bills. Everyone has to define their why. That's in the last video. And everybody has to define how, right? And a big part of how is the mental. For every new level of my business, every new employee, every person I had to fire, every new marketing plan, every new business plan, okay, I had to be a higher, better, more evolved version of myself. So in today's video, we're going to talk about courage. Courage. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not the one who does not feel afraid, but he is the one who conquers that fear. We're conquerors. You're going to conquer the fear. And in the last video, I was talked about doing things afraid, because that feeling, that fear, that knot in your stomach, that butterfly, that's just an indication that you're on the right path. And due to the way human beings we evolve, right? We evolve to like comfort, right? And actually we have evolved to stay away from dangerous situations. Doesn't that make sense, right? You want to stay inside your nice, comfortable cave, because if you go out into the wild, you might get, mauled by a mammoth or whatever, right? So what has happened unintentionally, especially because we live such convenient, comfortable lives now where we don't have to hunt, kill, gather, Okay. And it's easy to get into this rut of being comfortable. So a lot of times when you come in, you want to work with me, we're going to get your business to that first six figures. We're going to establish the sales process. We're going to go ahead and establish a marketing plan as a long-term one and a short-term one. And we do a lot of mindset work. It goes hand in glove. You can't do one or the other, because as you pursue your goal of starting this business or moving your business along, a lot of self-esteem, self-worth issues are going to come up, and you're going to hear the naysayers. Oh, you're going to leave your good city job. Oh, most businesses fail. They're going to tell you how it's impossible or how it's not going to work, because they themselves are in fear. And they're wanting to keep you safe, because if you're not safe, they're not safe, right? The reason why people want to keep you small, lots of reasons, but we'll go ahead and give them the benefit of the doubt, is really, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. It's because they want you to be safe, right? But this is something that's so powerful, and I haven't gotten into the meat and potatoes about what we're going to be talking about. I have a rule. I do not take advice in a particular area from somebody unless they are where I want to be. So I have everybody I know who's reached a level of success that I've reached have a business coach. My business coach's business is almost worth $100 million. He's been a long time ago where I'm at. And we work together and have conversation, and we work out things, because iron sharpens iron. So if you're talking to someone who is living a small, safe life, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you desire to have a big, juicy life, a legacy, a business that provides jobs in the community, a business that pays off your student debt, a business that affords you the ability to have more time. Ooh, more time to be with your family, more time to do the things that you want, more time to give back to the community. Or you might just want some Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all that, and that's fine. Your reason is your reasons, right? So don't take advice from people. The rule is, don't take advice from people who aren't where you want to be. So if you want to have $1 million business or six-figure business, your first $10,000 a month, your first sale, period, you're not going to talk to somebody who's never owned a business or never owned a successful business. That person has no idea about that world. And that is not, they don't have any point of reference. There's nothing you can glean or learn. All they're going to do is project their fear onto you. So you want to surround yourself with other unicorns and people who've been where you are. And there's a study out there that your salary, how much you make, is the average of the 5 people salaries that you spend the most time with. Because so we level up over here. We're unicorns. When's the last time you've seen a unicorn? Okay, it's possible. And the reason I'm just it's been for years that I've had this call in my life to do YouTube, do the podcast, all that. And I want all of you guys to know, if this little brown girl from Brooklyn, my parents are immigrants, they're from South America, Guyana. I was born in Brooklyn. I was raised in New York. If I can reach the levels and height that I have in lots of different areas, and I say this not to brag, but to show you what might be possible, okay, then there's no excuse for you. I'm a Black woman in America. And what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything, because I'm successful still, but it probably, if you're white, if you're a man, it perhaps could be easier for you. And even if it's harder for you, why don't you be an example to somebody else why it may be easy? So let's talk about courage. And when we get into this idea of how to have the courage, how to really, really be quiet with yourself and analyze yourself and understand yourself, and then require that self to be higher. So these are the questions. I'm going to be speaking a lot on this channel about journaling. So I've decided we're going to have a 5-minute journaling assignment. You can bullet point it. You can put it on the notes in your phone. It doesn't have to be full sentences. Let's go for the low hanging fruit. And these are the 2 questions I want you to pose. And be honest and be vulnerable. Don't tell me that you don't have time when you watch Netflix from hours, when you are on the phone talking about, juicy gossip, when, you're eating things you have no business eating because you don't like the weight you're at. When you swipe and right and right and right and left and right, you have time. Make time for what's important. So literally, I do this, guys. I have this app called Evernote on my phone. Sometimes I use a notes. I don't like this whole complicated process. Sometimes I can like meditate and sit down with candles and look into the sun. Most times I can't do it exactly that way. And I will just organize my thoughts and literally bullet point and really be honest with my answers and make it like a 5-minute process. Go for the low hanging fruit. That's a principle you're going to hear over and over. But here goes the question. Are you who you want to be? Are you who you want to be? This not. Are you is your integrity where you want it to be? Is your relationship with God the way you want to be? How are your relationships with close people? Do you have good quality relationships? How's your relationship with yourself? How are you taking care of yourself? Take an inventory in are you working and hating your job? And are you living in your purpose? Ooh. So here's the thing, guys. The God or the universe, however you want to put it, for me, it's God, will make you extremely uncomfortable when it's time for you to change. You're just going to be in a rut. You're not going to be feeling it. You're going to be like, oh, you're going to feel like lackluster. Something's going to be off. And you're not going to be able to put your finger on it. And here's why. That is God's way of saying that you need to change. It is time for a change in direction, a change in job, a change in education, to start the business, to lose the weight, to get out of the bad relationship, to mend your past traumas. We're about healing, thriving, and striving on this channel. I don't deal with people, even in my law practice, just their legal problem. I deal with people holistically. Okay? So if your answer is no, in these 2 areas, I'm not where I want to be, or you may not be able to identify exactly what, I'm just not where I want to be. Awesome. Let's talk about relationships. Let's talk about money, savings. Let's talk about relationship with God. Let's talk about rate yourself. A to F, rate yourself, your level of happiness, contentment, how you would want it to be versus how it is. And just be honest with yourself. And here's the second question. Do you have the courage to be the person you want to be? When they knock the coffin, we're going to die. Nobody gets out this thing alive. Will you be satisfied with the life you've lived? Have you been intentional with your time? These are questions that I really want you guys to journal and ask. And a lot of times we don't ask ourselves the question because we're not happy. And let me tell you something. Happiness, I'm not even talking about skipping all, life is ups and downs. But when I say happy, I'm not talking about always being up, because no one is always up. I'm talking about, are you satisfied? Are you exhilarated? Is your work meaningful to you? Is your relationship a blessing to you? Do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, damn, I've let myself go? Or are you taking care of yourself and loving yourself where you're at while loving yourself to where you want to be? If the answer is no, let's get the courage. Let's get the courage. And let me tell you, courage is not like this feeling you get that's going to make you execute. Courage is a decision that you're going to feel afraid. that you are going to have people not support you, and you're going to do it anyway. Now, I want to talk about this a story I heard from Dr. Monroe. He was a pastor and he passed away. I believe he was Bayesian. And in this story, he talks about a lion not being the strongest or biggest or most heavy, or not even necessarily truly the most ferocious animal. But the lion is the most confident animal. The lion is confident. And for instance, an elephant is bigger than a lion and perhaps stronger than a lion. But the lion has more confidence and grit and is more scrappy than the elephant. And lions think of their foes as lunch. I don't like that gazelle. That's my lunch. Now, despite the fact that the elephant is 60% more powerful, 60% more powerful than the lion is the king of the jungle because of his attitude, his swagger. Because of his swagger. Okay? And leadership is 80% attitude and 20% skill. And this is why over and over and over and over again, sometimes you'll see like singing stars or actors or even people who may propel in companies, and you're like, that person didn't go to Harvard. That person wasn't the smartest. That person didn't get straight A's in school. How come he or she is just like really, killing it, executing? Because that person has courage and confidence. And courage and confidence are kissing cousins. They go hand in glove. Now I'm going to give you 3 tools, 3 tangible things. I already gave you one because that's what we're going to be doing, journaling week to week. And I want you to really think about these 3 things and start to implement them slowly, one by one by one, right? As to not overwhelm yourself, okay? Number 1, anticipate leaders who have confidence and courage and who start businesses and who make up the top 1% and 10% of earners in the world. Those leaders anticipate change and shape the future. They anticipate change. Whereas people who are not leaders and not confident, they are consistently in a loop of reacting. They're reactionary. They're reactive. A leader will anticipate the fact that, okay, for instance, in my particular business, one of them, the first quarter is extremely busy. And in anticipation of that, and that's probably going to be my next video, I start planning, marketing, and making hiring decisions in the third quarter for the first quarter. Because I'm not going to wait for the first quarter to come and for me, my business to be inundated with business, and then we're having a production problem. Or we didn't capitalize on cornering the particular segment of the market that we want to attract by having an effective and precise marketing plan. So you have to have vision to be confident. And I think a lot of issues people are having is just the fact that we're not taking time to be quiet with ourselves and to make plans with our prefrontal cortex. We're making decisions instead of reacting. So make sure you are definitely setting goals and setting bite-sized, tangible things that you can do on a weekly basis. Like, I'm going to listen to the Fab Attorney podcast every week. I'm going to journal every week. And every month on the 30th, I'm going to see how close I am going to write down the things I did to get closer to my goal or goals and what my results are. Results don't lie. Results don't lie. Second, this might sound fool out, so important. Can I tell you guys, it may not seem like this, but I'll give you the principle, and then I want to tell you how this is really difficult for me. Have a diverse network of people. Have a diverse. So I'm an introvert. I'm an INFJ, and is it Myers-Briggs or whatever that personality test is? And yes, I have the gift of the gab, and I talk and all of the things, and I'm high energy. So people tend to think that I'm extroverted, but in fact, being around people drains my energy, and I much prefer to be alone. Or with maybe one or two people every now and then. I'm not an extrovert guy. So for me, I'll tell you a personal story. When I started my business, my law firm back in 2017, everyone says you have to network. I didn't do it because I hated it. I actually built my business because one of the things I'm really good at is selling with a great marketing plan and high conversion rate. But now, because I've hired people to sort of take a lot of roles that I used to occupy in my business, I am now having to be the rainmaker, having to do networking. And even when you're the boss, when you're the head unicorn in charge, you still have to do some of what you don't like. And I will say having a diverse network is so important. So I belong to a mastermind. I have a coach. I do it in a way that is palatable for me. I don't overly do it. I do it to where it's effective. So I go to like-minded people who actually own businesses that are 7 figures, 10 figures, and beyond, and have conversations with them here and there, because it's so refreshing when you realize it. I don't know a lot of people who run businesses on my level in my life. So it's good when you come together with like-minded people, and you can naturally say, hey, I had this problem, and they have a solution, or they can just really empathize. It's good. But having a diverse network is very important because it's about relationships. When you have the skill set to build relationships, and the thing about building relationships, you can't build a relationship with the idea of getting a return on that relationship immediately. It's literally just building relationships, adding value, and then eventually that will turn into that person adding value back into you. It's really a long game plan. So it's the mistake I see, a rookie mistake, is just someone just like reaching out to someone, not adding any value to that person and asking them for something. When people are business owners and they have a lot going on, or, celebrities or whatever, people are consistently taking from their well. So if you really want to inspire that person to want to mentor you, want to in any way have a mutually beneficial situation, the best thing is if you can add into their well, and add into their well, and then eventually perhaps ask, or you'd be surprised, they'll probably just send you business, or naturally a certain type of relationship will form. So I'll talk about that. It's a whole nother video in there because it's a very nuanced thing. 3, the last thing, guys, is you have to build up emotional stamina. Oof. You have to build up emotional stamina. You have to build up emotional stamina. A lot of being a successful person in any regards, and I'm very obsessed with, I wouldn't say obsessed, but I enjoy reading biographies of great people who've lived great and interesting lives. And I love to watch and read and listen to those type of biographies. And one thing I notice is that the people who make the history books or live the big juicy life, they have a high tolerance for failure, and they understand and accept and surrender to the fact that failing is a part of the problem, or part of the process. Failure is part of the process. Okay. And they come to love it, almost like when you're in a gym and you're working out and you are doing reps to failure. You live for that, increasing your tolerance increasing your ability to do reps before you hit the point of failure, because that means you're stronger. So it's the same concept. Those are the 3 tangible things. Guys, I'm just going to recap. Before I recap, if you've reached this point in the video, obviously I'm new to YouTube and I really want to form our tribe, my day ones, my unicorn friends. So please like, subscribe, and hit the notification button if you've made it this far. If you feel like this is, the things that I'm going to be talking about is a good fit for you and we can be mutually beneficial to each other. Can you do that? And I'm just gonna do a quick recap. So the recap is anticipate the change. Be someone, so you have to start planning. So that means you have to start having a journal. You have to start having a calendar. You have to start thinking ahead. That means you have to create time in your schedule where you're doing exactly that. Thinking about your quarter, thinking about your week, thinking about your month, and seeing if you've actually executed the goals that you've sought out to execute, and actually looking at your actual results versus your goals and seeing what you need to change in order to get closer to your desired result. And I do this. I do it weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly with myself and with my staff. Point blank, period. There's no cute way. There's no easy way down. And you can't abdicate that as the head unicorn in charge, as the CEO, as the boss to anyone else, because that's how people get scammed and people stealing from their business. They don't know what's going on. They abdicate it to someone else. Second, have a diverse network. When I say that, doesn't mean, well, you should have a diverse as far as color and sex, but it could be that you know people in the real estate, people in business, people in different realms that would make sense for the kind of business you have, and that you can collaborate with, like on YouTube, that you just start having relationships with people where it would make sense for you guys to mutually like collab on each other's channels, or just start a long-term relationship. So that's something you have to think about. And you should have people in different areas that can help you with different things: marketing, finance, and then even play. I'm gonna do a pleasure luxury video. I'm all about pleasure, luxury, and building that into your schedule, having fun, enjoying life. Okay. And lastly, you have to build emotional stamina, because you need that you need that endurance, because it's definitely a marathon, and it's definitely, you have to continue to take risks. At every new level, there's going to be new failures. Okay. And then you have to surrender to that truth and then come to love it. I enjoyed this video. It's actually longer than I thought it would be, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I can't wait to spend time with you next week, unicorns. Peace.